Oh, he's back. I didn't see.
There you go.
Nice. All right, cool.
Yeah, she's logging in.
Okay, there you go. All right, so yeah, so the question is about importing custom ABI JSON into like a builder project to use. So like if you have a custom smart contract and you want to use Web3 actions with it, a custom ABI. And so actually first, before I get into like the custom part, I'll just show, wait, will I show that? That actually doesn't make sense. I was going to show the ones we have. So basically the couple actions we have for Web3 that are smart contract based, there's get balance of a token and get total supply of a token right now. We're doing the ABI for you so that you don't have to, basically. So if you're using a weird or a different contract that with a different balance of function, you'd have to use your own custom ABI. But if you're using 99% of contracts, you can just use these and we take care of that ABI JSON for you. And what the ABI does, I mentioned this a second ago, but we're recording now. What the ABI does is kind of define the functions in the contract so that you can call them. So you need it if you have anything custom, basically. If you have any custom smart contract function, you need to have your own ABI in there so that the Web3 calls you're making know what they're doing. And what I described a second ago before we recorded was that there's a couple different ways to bring them in. And so I was going to show one way here. So I'm on this Builder Web3 passes site and I'm going into the custom action I made to mint. And so this will be some form of a real action in the future. But minting is a little bit, there's like nuances to minting for all the different projects and collections and the ways people mint. So we're just like figuring it out, but we pretty much have it done. And so pretty soon we'll have this in the studio, but this one is like custom. You could actually think of this as the start of the one that'll be in the studio, as I'm sure it'll come from this. But what we did was we have an input argument for contract ABI JSON. And it's set to only be a media upload. So it's only checked as from the media library. So when we use it, I remember this, whoops, I gotta remember this project to find something here. It'll be this one. So when we mint it and we use it, it looks like this, media upload. And so here, like this is the file I have uploaded in here is called holderpass ABI _ mainnet. So you can like, when you have your ABI.json file, you just save it as a file. Here I did it so you upload it here, but you could also just come directly to the media library and upload it. And so actually these will be somewhere in here. Oh, here's one. Studio Pass ABI, like it's just a file in the media library. Excuse me. And then what happens is, so that mint action is using this mint function. What happens is right here in the beginning of this mint function, I do a fetch for this ABI JSON file. So first I'm getting the ABI JSON file from the input argument, whatever the user has it set to, and then I just fetch it. And it's JSON, so I output as JSON. And if it's correct, then I run this function, which is basically just runs my mint function in here. So that's how I set it up for this one. I could also, so what I did is I made, let's see, it's called contract ABI, I think. So I made this variable called contract ABI. I fetched the file and then I set contract ABI to like the contents of the file. I could also have just gone and just custom done like contract ABI equals and then written out. I don't actually know really what they look like, but this would be like the JSON in there, and you could just write it out like that too. That would work just as well. So I've done that like in earlier mint functions when I was figuring this all out and I was writing it. I would just paste that ABI right into here, and that works too. So that's probably the best way to get it in. And it's like, it's in a custom, in this case, it's in a custom action. We don't have any built-in actions that will just take an ABI file yet. We will at some point. So when that happens, it would either be here and exist, or you can upload it to your media library and then use it somehow. You could set it to a variable and then set it into an action, just like anything else in Builder. And you can like, it's open-ended, even though you might not need to set it into a variable or an element ever, like you can do any of that stuff with it. I'm trying to think of what else I can say about that. Let me just check this chat too. Oh, limit of the size. So Ray's asking about limit to the size of what you can import. It's not a size of what you can import in total. Like if I'm doing the method I just showed where you use a file, it can be any size. Or actually, technically, there's probably like a 20 or 40 megabyte limit or something on it, I bet. But it's like for a JSON file, like it can be enormous. The limit I was talking about is if you make a custom action, it's like saving all this stuff in like blobs or file. I don't know the right words. I'm not like a hosting guy. Tori probably knows much better, but it's saving in the back end in basically a file that has a file limit. So like an action itself, if you have a ton of options in the JSON, it can actually hit that file limit. And same with like action functions or whatever. And same with like, if I have an action that works, like this mint to smart contract is an action that works. But if I put a huge, like if this was a text box with a huge amount of ABI JSON in the value, the actual like the JSON of this action instance would be too big. So it's not really a limit in like the file size. It's just a limit in like in these actions. And it's actually something we're going to fix in the future. It's just right now that's a limit. So the way you get around that limit is by using the file. If you use the file, no limits. I think huge is like 20 megabytes probably. Like I think our file uploader
Yeah, it limits to 20 megs
20,
right
yeah.
now. But we do have something in the works that will, I believe it'll extend it. I think it's 2 terabytes per file. But right now it is limited to 20 megs.
But I mean, the nature of a JSON file, if you had one that was 40 megs, you could upload 2 of them and then string them together in Builder. It's kind of interesting because it's just JSON, it's just text. So it's actually pretty, like you'll be able to get whatever you need done one way or another. What about the action file with the JS? Is that also 20 megabytes? Do you know, Dorian, that has a same limit or no?
No, because that gets stored. I can't remember off the top of my head what that limit is. Do I have that somewhere? It's definitely a lot smaller. I think it's 2 megabytes. I can't remember. Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on it, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 megabytes for that entire record. And then I can't remember, there's another limit per field, but I'd have to go look and see.
Yeah, and usually it's a kind of thing where like usually you don't hit that. It's like that kind of limit. Like the reason we don't know is because you almost never hit it. But then when you do something like this with like a big like actual file, that's when you start running into these issues. And then usually if you separate the actual file out, all the issues go away. Yeah, maybe if like this ABI will be the thing that pushes us to change this all and like upgrade it. Because I mean, we talk about it all the time. Like even the API call action or like the create record action in Builder, if you have too many fields, you hit the limits on these. So it is something we need to fix either way. But yeah, it's kind of how Builder works. Sometimes we're like the hottest item. Like if something comes up and we just need it, that's what'll get it done. So yeah, what else?
Yeah, and if nobody has any questions, maybe you can go over the new token gated allow lists.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, what I can do is start a new project. I hope this doesn't lock me out. I'm hitting this weird bug where I have so many projects that creating a new project is a gamble that I'm going to get locked out. So if I hit my limit, it won't load anything in the studio. And then I have to go into like Microsoft Azure table storage thing and like manually delete records. So, but I cleared a bunch, so I think I'll be good, but we'll see. But what I'll show right now is this allow list template we put out. So it's Web3, but it's pretty it's kind of like, in my mind, like a culmination of like a bunch of the Web3 stuff we've been working on, like put into a nice, like simple form. Because it's like a pretty simple site where people can come to the site, connect with MetaMask, so you know it's their wallet, and then get put on an allow list. So it's like if a project's gonna mint and it's gonna be really popular, they do different things like giveaways or partnerships, so you can earn an allow list spot. So that's kind of what we're building, because there's a lot of collections that are using just like Google Forms or Tally Forms, and like getting duplicates of things and getting like people sharing with their friends that shouldn't. There's all these weird things. And we're like, let's just make this quick template. So if you have a studio pass now and you go to the new project now, you get these Web3 templates. Mark just added this one, token gated to Airtable, which is based on what I was talking about earlier, which is that the Rug Radio project kind of, they wanted to use Airtable, and we built it really quickly. And they were like, oh, we can turn this into a template. And then from that template, I realized I could turn that into a allow list. So now we have these two new ones. So the one I'm going to talk about is this token gated allow list site. So I can, what's the date today? 3/31. So I can choose token gated allow list and create. And then what this is like ready to go out of the box. But in practice, to use it, you're going to want to change a few things. And so just to know, one thing is it comes with a lesson for how to use it. So if you don't need to come back to this video. If you want to use this, you can just come in and watch this. We'll have videos, and also this instructions thing kind of shows you how to set it up. But before I actually set it up, I'll just show what it looks like. So it's this out of the box, where this is like your collection. This is like a fake collection called Circle Sunsets with a little description. And like, this would be, like a picture of their collection. So you connect to MetaMask. Oops. And then it knows my wallet address and asks me my Discord name. So, I can put whatever I want in there, and I can't actually change my wallet address because it's my wallet. And actually, I didn't get to there yet, but this was token gated. So I had to have a studio pass in order to see this page. So that's why I locked the wallet address in, but just submit, and I would be on the list if it would have worked, but for some reason it didn't work. That's kind of funny. But that's really all it is. And then if I came back later to submit again, I would actually see a message that says I'm on the list. And you wouldn't believe how hard that, like, how, I don't know, no one has solved that yet. Like, no one's really done that. And so all these different projects are doing they're achieving this goal in all these crazy ways that make no sense. So we built this so to make it really easy. And I don't know why I had that problem. I'll figure that out in a second. But if it didn't have that problem, like, it would have been done easy. I could have published this to a subdomain, or to like allowlist.myproject.com or whatever. But we built in a few things that make it more useful. So I mentioned that token gating. Do I remember where this is though? Component header. So you mentioned that token gating. And one of the cool things I did with this template and just in general is I used this MetaMask Connect block. So when this loads, you'll see it. And it's a fully styled MetaMask button. So you can just drop in your header. It looks like a button. When you click it, MetaMask pops open. And then if they connect with MetaMask, it runs a flow, like the flow is already there. If there's an error, it goes an error flow. If there's a wrong chain, it checks the chain. It does everything for you that you need. It changes the button. Instead of saying connect with MetaMask, it'll say like their wallet. Like, it does everything in one. So that's right here. It's this full MetaMask connects block. So for this template, I just used it. So I dropped it right there. And that actually comes with like all these different connect to MetaMask flows and handles a bunch of stuff. So it's a really nice setup there that you don't really have to think about. But after it connects successfully to MetaMask, this template has this thing added, this condition NFT in wallet. And right here, we have it set in the default. It's going to check if you have a builder studio pass, a builder holder pass, or a builder collection pass. And if you have one of any of those, it'll let you into the allow list. So as a collection, if I were a different collection and I spun this up in the template, all I have to do is come in here, add my token, add my contract address for my collection there. If I have more than one, I can add them, or I can delete these. And then now it'll be token gated to like my project. Or two, really how it works is if you have a project that's going to mint, you don't have tokens yet, but your partners, you might say, oh, we like this other project. They're our partner community. They're allowed to get on the list. So you put their token address in here. And then when you add another partner, you add a new one of these and you put that new contract address in. So that's kind of how that works. And then it's like pretty straightforward. Other than that, that's the only kind of maybe tricky part, which isn't even too tricky. And then the only last thing I'll say about it is that I built in like a starter theme. So in theory, you would actually like add to this design and make it look like your brand or your collection site or whatever. But if you want to keep it as is, there's this white view. But and this is in the instructions how to do this, but you can come to the page body class, and instead of page body light, you can add page body dark and just get like a dark mode view. You know, it's the exact same thing, just dark, just some of the colors are shifted, but it's kind of a cool feature and kind of like a cool little starter template. Because you can also take this even further. You know, it doesn't have to be an allow list. You can turn an allow list into a lot of things. So yeah. That's pretty much it. I feel like it's a very specific thing. So if you're not into like NFTs, or if you don't have a collection, it doesn't even seem important, but it's kind of amazing how prevalent of a thing it is and how there's really not too many good solutions. There's one major company that does this as their product, and they're not my favorite. They're kind of like, they have a little bit more of a Web 2 ethos than a Web 3 ethos. So I think what we did here is pretty cool. What else? I can't even think of any announcements. Like I have all these like cool things I'm working on, but none of it's like public shareable. You know, like there's a lot of exciting things, but nothing I can exactly talk about just yet.
Yeah.
Besides that rug voting thing that I already talked about, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was trying to look through Discord to see if there are any like outstanding questions, but
yeah,
nothing that I can see that'd be helpful here. Yeah, the only other thing I see is you added that new action for formatting money, or format as money. I don't know if that'd be a easy or cool one to just show how that works, and maybe after that one we can just wrap up.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Let me just pop something on here to show it. Yeah, this is like something I needed for literally so long. Like I actually tried to build this as like one of the first things I built in Builder, but at the time was not able to complete it. What's going on with this drop? Yeah, that's fine. So like, well, I'll just leave it like this. So I made this action basically that is, it formats money for you. It's like formatting dollars basically. So I shouldn't even say money. And we're gonna add all the you actually, it doesn't have to be dollars. You can do any currency in it, but it's like we did it thinking for dollars, and then we're gonna build it out to a lot more internationalized stuff, because there are nuances when it's not exact like this. It's like perfect for the format that I know. And then I was like, maybe that's not the like I'm clueless. I'm like, maybe that's not the prevalent format. And look, there's like a million different things. So anyway, let me just make this flow as I'm talking. So anyway, it covers a lot of different formats, but it'll cover even more soon. What it is it's called format as money, and it takes any input. So in this case, I'll just probably use some text so I can show a bunch of ways, but you can just have like any number like that. And say here, the currency is USD. So you can actually add other currencies if you know them. And what I did is, because it's not like eventually this should be a select or something. Since it's not, I added this link that'll show you any currency code. So you could actually do like, other ones. But do the code, the locale. If you leave this blank, that's usually ideal, but that's for like different little formatting nuances. It'll handle automatically. If a user is in another country and they browse to your site, it'll put it in the way they want to see it formatted. And if I'm in the US and I go, it'll be the way I liked it formatted. We have the same thing in the format date action too, where like you have some options to set like month and day formatting, but you don't actually set like the full order of everything. You just say, I want the month to have no leading zero and the day to have a leading zero. And then for people in the US, it'll go month day. And for other countries where it does day month, it'll show up as day month. So it's kind of like smart formatting. Same thing happens here with the money. So if you leave the locale blank, it'll pick up their locale from wherever they're browsing from and display it as best it can for them. And then the last thing is just what do you want to do with the formatted variable or value. So I have this number, I want to format it as money. And in this case, I'm just going to set it directly into that element I created right here. Whoops. And then I'm just going to nest this flow under the page binding so it runs. And so a couple things that happened here. It did this M as in millions. It put the $ and it put the commas in, and it put cents in. Although actually, now that I see that might be incorrect because I didn't write cents. But the reason it did all those things kind of comes from these settings. So I have this toggle on for format large numbers. And the main reason is for stuff like this. Like if you have like $1,000, you might want that to come out instead of $1,000,000, you might want it to come out 1K. So like for some of the portfolio tracker stuff we're making where some of the values get big, we use this. And that's part of the reason I made this action is so that it would automatically handle that. But if I don't want to handle that, I can just toggle that off and it'll just come up, $1,000 like that. Or like I said, like with those other, I haven't like tested too much with other currencies. So hopefully this looks like something normal. Does it even work? There you go. So yeah, it's got some options, but basically before you had to concatenate together like your currency symbol, the number, do a 2-fix path. If you did that method, you wouldn't even get the commas in there. So there's like a lot of steps. So now anytime you have a value and you want to output it as money, one step, one action. And I'm just reading a question here that we could have covered, but I don't have a good answer, but I'll talk about it. So I think actually I think we did this a little bit last week on office hours, but maybe not. But with Tom's site, with the API calls where he was making API calls to sites that were sometimes down. And if the site was down, then it wouldn't tell them right away. Like it would just try. And after like 20 seconds, it would time out. And so that's an issue. But the real issue that was causing is if that happened, the API call is stopping the rest of the queue. And so like everything is pausing for that 20 seconds to wait. So basically we tried to figure out how to not pause the queue. Which really wasn't possible. And that's in all the variables of his project, I couldn't really figure out a way to run those at the same time. And it mostly had to do with because of the timeout. It's because it's literally like not finding a URL to resolve to. So there was like this step where I was just getting blocked. So what we did instead is we made a new action that'll be in the studio for everyone in a day or two, as soon as I just polish it up the last steps. A new action that will just it's like a ping. Like if you ever did like a ping in terminal, so it'll ping a URL and it'll just tell you if it's online or offline. And if you do the ping, you can set a timeout time in seconds. So what this will allow Tom to do is he can go in and before he makes an API call, he can just ping it quickly with like a 2-second or a 1-second timeout. And if it's offline, he doesn't have to make the API call. It's online, he makes it. And so it solved this issue, but then we ran into another issue, which is it's crazy. It's happened so much in his project, but the nature of what he's doing like ham radio stuff, like people are setting up these APIs off, like running off their computer, literally. So you're like APIing to a URL, like a IP address URL. So anyway, we ran this issue where a lot of those are not HTTPS. They're not secure. They just come in as HTTP. And if that happens, Builder and every website that's on HTTP can't actually call the data on client side and take it in. Like you can't call insecure data from a secure site. It's just the browsers won't let you. So after all that and getting the pings to work and getting all set up, most of his the API calls he's making are not secure sites. So we're back to the drawing board. And I had told him yesterday or maybe the day before that I thought I had an idea that I could fix it, which did not work. And I didn't tell him it didn't work yet. So, but we're probably going to like take it back a step to the devs and build some kind of timeout into the API action, like the default one. I bet that's going to be the solution, but we're going to talk tomorrow in more detail about it, I think, and figure out what we're going to do. So no real update for Tom today on that, but there is technically progress. Oh, nice. And Mark just told me he handled that grid thing in the beginning of the call when I was talking about Darrell made that fix. I think Mark just figured out with him and got it updated in the Rug Radio project.
Nice. Yeah, we looked at that
Discord
one
users can be
yesterday.
happy.
We were stepping through it yesterday too, because he was asking me if I had ran into it. And I was like, no. But I actually also mentioned to him, I was like, perhaps that's also why sometimes in the community, those posts are out of order. Like could be a related.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah. Because I was saying I never saw it before, but actually now that you mention it, I probably just never put it together. This one, it was really easy to see the problem because they're like numbers that are supposed to be in order.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so when they're out of order, it's just really easy to see.
Exactly. Okay.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Got anything else? I mean, we can definitely wrap. I don't want to just like waste anyone's time just going over stuff, but also happy to go over anything if people have stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think Fraser just responded because he's been helping out Tom as well. So nothing there. So yeah, I think we're good. We can wrap up a little early today.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone.
Yeah, see you guys.
See you next time. Later.